She says I'm going down so hard you might never come back. She's gonna break free the way she loves to laugh. But I was thinking, how could I get some of that? Girl, I think you're poison if you feel the cold. You make me crazy, baby, don't let up. But if I'm falling, I don't wanna stop. I give up everything I have, your
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That was Break Free from Hartford 2022. What up? What up? It's your boy Conserviz 34. We about to get this thing started. About to get this thing started. So, we, one thing is missing, and that's the theme music. Let's get that theme music going here. Don't forget to hit the like button. All right, cue that theme music. It's your boy Conserviz 34. And we back, and we back. We got the DMB Tour Awards. That's coming in just a second. But before we get to that, we're going to get down to some current events here. Shout out to everyone who started watching me in 2022. Shout out to the new subscribers in 2023. Free that before these crowded streets re-release. R.I.P. Old Can't Stop. R.I.P. the violin in the band. Full time. Rashawn Ward Ross, get well soon, homie. Shout out Dave Matthews. Happy belated birthday. So yeah, man, there's been some things going on. We're gonna talk a little bit about the tour rumors, but I don't want to go too much into speculation. I'm gonna let things come out as they are, because I could say this, and that, and they're gonna play here. They may not play here. Then the tour comes out, and certain things we're concerned about do happen. So that's just one of those things. And we want to know in the chat, what was your favorite show of 2022? It's about to get to the DMB Tour Awards in just a second. So I want to know, what is your favorite show from 2022? But I do want to start off with just some of the festival details here. We know that the band is going to kick off their touring. If we pull up this here, they're going to kick off their touring in the full band variety in 2023 at the Innings Festival, which is, I believe, on the campus of Raymond James Stadium. If you guys aren't familiar with Tampa, Raymond James Stadium, the home of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and I think it's Steinbrenner Field, the New York Yankees spring training home of the Tampa Yankees A-League team. There's a big complex there with those two facilities and a lot of open space, obviously, for parking. So they're going to be having Innings Fest there on the grounds of Raymond James Stadium, right next to Steinbrenner Field, and which is perfect spot for it because it's right by a ballpark. And Innings Fest is a combination of live music and your favorite baseball stars from yesteryear, and some current baseball stars that come in there. You get to see them. You get to see some awesome music. They had the one in Arizona, and now they've added a second location in Tampa. Those are the Arizona and Florida are the spots for spring training for baseball. So that's really all we have right here. is that they're going to be playing this festival, but there was talk about DMB playing some other festivals, potentially Jazz Fest, Bottle Rock, right? Bonnaroo. There was a fake Bonnaroo billing that was put up, but to no avail. It was not the actual Bonnaroo billing, and DMB was on that fake billing, right? Bottle Rock, they thought, hey, maybe they're going to play there. There was rumors of No Mansfield, so maybe they'll play Boston Calling, right? And then there was, oh, well, they're definitely going to play Jazz Fest. Everyone on the rumors on Ants Marshall, they have to be at Jazz Fest. So that was not true. The lie detector test said that was a lie. They gotta play festivals.
Nope.
And here's my thing. I I don't think they should play any festivals outside of them creating another caravan type festival, because they're not a festival band. You go see the Red Hot Chili Peppers, you go see the Foo Fighters, you go see um, other bands that are popular that maybe have a similar set list, right? Every night, maybe they mix up stuff here and there. Those bands are better at a festival. And for me personally, I kind of use if I was like I went to uh I don't go to many festivals. I used to go to Vans Warp Tour. I went to Project Revolution for Linkin Park, and really Project Revolution is more like a that was really more like a caravan for Linkin Park. But Warp Tour was a festival, but I went to Warp Tour because I could check off a couple different acts, right? I went to Summerfest this past summer, and that's not really a festival, but there's a lot of different things. But I was able to see my homie from Living Single, TC Carson. I was able to see Disturbed, Lamb of God, and then after all of that, at 9 p.m., the Revivalist, when I ran from the Disturbed main tour stop, really at like DMB does Summerfest, and I ran to a smaller city to see the Revivalist, who I love. So, but when I go to a festival, I want to cross off a couple acts that I've been meaning to see. Most of them do not repeat songs. I mean, most of them repeat a lot of their set lists. I don't go to see a lot of acts that have unique set lists at fest. That's just me, right? There are festivals that are like Lock In used to exist, and some other ones that are for jam bands. But I don't go to see jam bands. I go to see acts that are going to give you that have that legend or status, and then you're able to just see this legend perform or command the stage. Or there's certain acts that just they don't get a lot of following when they have their own headlining stuff. But at a festival, they can pump up a crowd, right? I don't want to see DMB. I don't know why people are disappointed, and maybe this is just on the ants marching form and some other stuff. Maybe that's what it is. But like, I don't want to see them at a festival. And my hope for all of you guys, wherever you live, is that you guys get a full band show at your local Live Nation or AXS tickets venue, not a festival where you have to be stuck in this little area for 3 hours just to see DMB play cookie cutters. That's what it comes down to. They play a bunch of cookie cutter songs that can really win over fans that aren't fans, or it can really impress people to say, "Hey, I don't like Dave's voice, but I love how Carter plays. I actually respect Dave's acoustic strumming, things like that, his energy, how he entertains a crowd." Right? And they do great things to cater towards a festival crowd, but the best serving of DMB is going to be at a regular show, right? Me as a passive casual fan for years, and finally going in 2012 and seeing them open with the Stone is the reason I'm here today. If it was a lackluster show, I probably don't go back. But they opened with the Stone. They played Blackjack. That's to me the best gospel for DMB to spread to new fans, right? And festivals to me are overpriced and too stressful nowadays, for the most part. And that's not to say I'm still thinking about Boston Calling, but I mean, a lot of times if you just go to see some, like, they do have a great lineup, and it's right Memorial Day. It's not 2 hours up the road from me, but to fly out to a festival, be hot in a pit. And I've heard things about certain pits, like, certain areas of certain festivals where it's just tight and it gets muddy and it gets hot. Like from Lollapalooza, I have friends. I used to work in the at StubHub. So I know people who worked those events and went to those events. And to me, it's just 9 times out of 10, I'm saying no. Um, and Mark, yeah, Mark, shout out to the Foo Fighters on these bills. I think that's an act that you can go see. Um, that is going to give you a good representation of who they are. The festivals have shortened cookie cutter shows, posters, plus the sound at most festivals isn't great. Yes. And speaking of sound, this is something that maybe this is just stuff you hear on the forums and the message boards, the ants, the DMB family, the warehouse boards. Like someone just brought up the idea today, hey, maybe they should not play Hartford and Mansfield and play Fenway Park twice.
Bruh.
No, no, like absolutely not. Right now with DMB's touring, I don't want them to play a baseball park. Amphitheaters are the best way to take in most times. And some of these, I think I've heard great things about Credit One Stadium in Charleston, South Carolina. Either an intimate, unique venue like Charleston, a small, specific thing like Daly's Place, or an amphitheater are the best ways to typically take in DMB in the summertime, right? I don't want baseball parks. They're like, oh, they should. No. And every year, someone says they should play a stadium. Jeff out there in Phoenix, Arizona, saying we get DMB for Super Bowl, hoping for a crazy special guest. Right, that show too is there. Jeff, the best thing you have is you're in Phoenix. I think the hardest thing for anyone for this show is getting a hotel at a reasonable price, or knowing someone who's there, getting an Airbnb combo deal with some friends that you can actually afford. There's tickets. People already are canceling plans and selling tickets already. I've seen some this week. The thing with the Super Bowl show, it could be we'll see what happens. I would have expectations very low, because even the idea of a guest coming in, maybe they have a guest, but even so, like in the past, like the Minneapolis show, they didn't have a guest. I believe in San Francisco, they didn't have a guest. They played some of the Final Fours, college football playoffs and Final Fours, and they didn't have guests. Anthony, what up? Anthony, great to see you. Says hi. Justin, great to see you. So what I want to do now, I just want to talk about that briefly. There's a video I have of my awards here for 2022. I want to play that, and we'll come back to this after. And if you're watching this stream on replay, I also plan to upload this as a separate video if you just want to watch this video, and I'm going to do a little more editing before that. But let me pull up this video, and then you guys can enjoy this. I'll step away for a second, and then after that, we'll look to try to get some people on. Already, let me see, So I got Connor and Mark are definitely be on. If you guys want to stay on after that, and we'll try to get some more people on here. I'm gonna chap draw this. So if you want to skip through some of this, or you want to skip through the video, because this video is going to be about 20 minutes or so. So let me pull up the DMB Awards 2022. All right, we'll get this up, and then I will be back. All right. All right, so here you go. This is your featured presentation for tonight, the DMB Tour Awards. I'll be back after the video.
What up, what up? It's your boy Conserviz34. This is the 2022 Dave Matthews Band Tour Awards. Just like last year, I will be giving my picks for various categories for the entire Dave Matthews Band Full Band 2022 plate. This includes the summer tour, this includes the fall tour, and the festivals that were intermixed for Dave Matthews Band Full Band performances only. So stay tuned. We're going to go through some of these categories, and thank you guys for supporting me throughout 2022. So best opener is going to go to the shotgun that opened the Homedale, New Jersey show on June 29th, 2022. This was the first time ever Shotgun opened a full band show, and where it happened is special because these are one of the lower desired mid-Atlantic shows of the year, right? It's not Camden, it's not SPAC, it's middle of the week. Deer Creek had just ended, Alpine was just starting up. The following weekend from when this show was played, midweek show, and boom, you get that red guitar, the Violette Avanti Griffin, but it's not Squirm, right? It's not something predictable. It's something that hadn't been played for a while until 2022. It really was a decade asleep from the full band shows. And you get it back for this year. And then Homedale, New Jersey, not SPAC, not Deer Creek, not Alpine, not The Gorge. Homedale, New Jersey can say it was the first and only, so as I record this video, the only ever Shotgun to open a show. It's special. The crowd does not react as crazy as you would think, but that's okay. This is still a special moment for the band and for fans watching this. I watched this on Rab's live stream on Instagram, but you know, people watching it on the Facebook couch tour and people listening to this tape, it's a special moment for this band and for the fans. We have wanted this song to open, and we want this song in rotation more, and we got it in 2022. Finally, after our hiatus for the last decade, seemingly. And thank you, band, for bringing this back. Last played before 2022 in Wichita, Kansas in 2016. And before that, I mean, it still didn't get much play. Shotgun came back. That was the highlight of 2022, and the best opener is Shotgun from Homedale, New Jersey.
Chasing the avalanche down. Watching the world on your phone. Must be something better wrong.
So for Best Liberation, I am picking Break For It. This song was played 7 times in 2010, and then it went away. And it did come back in 2021 on SiriusXM Radio, live from home by request, Dave Solo, with a little bit of a more minor flair. But this coming back in 2022 was, to me, the best Liberation. They were better overall songs. Shotgun and Dreaming Tree are better overall songs, but we had gotten those recently. This is a song that we literally got 7 times and then it went away, but now we got it for 10 times in the summer of 2022. Also, what's important about this song, it doesn't have Tim overplaying. It doesn't have a loud blasting trumpet. It doesn't have the elements of the Wall of Sound era to present DMB. It allows for Jeff to shine on the flute. It allows for Buddy to get some vocals, and it allows for Tim to be subtle, and it allows for Rashawn to use his vocals and to be at a more balanced tone. And most importantly, you can hear Stefan, you can hear Dave's guitars. Dave's guitar is is present throughout this song, and that's always my gripe. This is the Dave Matthews Band, and it's okay for this band to have more of a laid-back, groovy, as Dave used to call it, a driving song. And its lyrics reign true, right? The TV's on, but nothing's good on that TV, right? Let's run while we can. Let's take the most of this life and run while we can. So that's why I picked this as Best Liberation. It's not the best overall song that was liberated as far as if you look at the song, the lyrics, the composition, but this was a song that we needed back. We hadn't gotten it in such a long time, and it was beautiful all the times it was played. I saw this at Hartford from the pit, and I was just in heaven listening to this band be balanced, listening to this band use all of the talents it has, from again Jeff to Dave to Tim, right, to Buddy, to Rashawn just laying back a little more, and Carter doing his thing on the drums. Stefan, again, I love when Stefan gets some shine. Break Free also did that this year, giving him them bass lines to actually have space to breathe. So Best Liberation is Break Forward. So for Best Guest Spot here, I gotta go with Derek Trucks from the Jacksonville show that he was at. Now, this is the thing. Tim Reynolds did his thing on other Lie in Our Graves this year. Eric Krasno did his thing on Lie in Our Grave guest spots, including one that I saw him sit in on. But here is the thing. Derek Trucks is Derek Trucks. He is one of the best point guards of jams ever, right? All time. And currently, to me, seeing so many great guitar legends across multiple genres, alive and some who have passed, there is no one like Derek Trucks. Again, going back to the other guest spots, yes, Celise did her thing at the Gorge. So did Anne Marie at the Hollywood Bowl. Having that violin was special. But the best skill, emotion, feeling, overall guest spot textbook in how to jam in a band that's based around an acoustic guitar and its percussive elements, Derek Trucks. Ladies and gentlemen, there is no one in the game that can do it as great as he does it. He does not try to take the spotlight fully. He just tries to showcase his talents and work off what everyone else is doing and distribute greatness across the board so that everyone feels great. That's why I say he is one of the best point guards in jamming history of all time. And that's what you get from this solo. The build up, the approach. He doesn't get too high and wicked loud. He balances the middle of the range stuff and gets to the low a little bit, brings that twang to it down in Jacksonville. But if you know, you know. Right? Jacksonville's just part of Georgia anyway. It's southern Georgia. Anyway, the point being, focusing back on the topic at hand, Derek Trucks did his thing on this solo, and this is exactly what I love with Dave Matthews Band. When a guest is able to shine but not go too crazy away from what makes this band great, not take away too much from what everything else that's going on. Derek Trucks is one of those guys that I've been fortunate enough to see with Tedeschi Trucks Band, with the Allman Brothers Band before they hung up their jersey, and now seeing with Dave Matthews Band was just a special moment. Best guest spot, best guest, Derek Trucks, Lie in Our Graves from Daly's Place in Jacksonville, Florida. So for best two-night stand, I decided to choose SPAC. I did go to the Holy Trinity of two-night stands in person. That's in the name of Alpine, Deer Creek, and SPAC. Amen. And to me, what made SPAC great, first of all, no Jimmy thing. Night one, the only skippable songs you could argue to me were You and Me and maybe Shake Me Like a Monkey. Maybe you could say that, but everything else was flawless. Even that the fact that it was the tour debut of Every Day. It wasn't overplayed this tour. If it was overplayed, then played here, that would be minus points as well. But night one, Very little you could actually skip. Even the Shake Me closer, I think it's always funny when they do that. Night 2 had some great things, and Night 1 had that Fool in the Rain moment. That was something that was special at Alpine, but they brought it to SPAC, and that brought the house down. You had your 41-7-27, just a special number thing for the 41st show of SPAC. And the Night 2 show, you had the Bartender Open. After that, it did slow down a little bit, but again, you have no Jimmy thing. And then you have recently at the 7th spot, it picks back up. Is it the best SPAC weekend ever? Absolutely not. But when you get to, it's not how you start a weekend, it's how you finish it. And everything from Minarets on was amazing. Minarets, Lionel Graves, Crush, Rooftop to Ants, and then that encore. It was not written. No one who had a set list in advance could see that they were going to play Pay For What You Get. It was not on that printed set list, so it was a surprise to really much everyone but the band and the tech crew and the audio crew, right? That's what made, this is why you go to SPAC shows. This is why you go chase these moments like the SPAC Night 2 Encore. Just chills down my back as we get that Pay For What You Get. And then on top of that, the Too Much Fake into Halloween. Again, not how you start, it's how you finish. This weekend finished strong. Didn't need any guests. Lionel Graves with Tim was amazing. The Recently again was amazing. Bartender, amazing. Night 1, everything was amazing for Night 1. And you had a Some Devil for Night 1 as well. Again, a special E1. All the E1s were A1. The endings, obviously Shake Me. You can say what you say about it. I don't mind the ending. Like, we have Night 2. And then the Night 2 ending with that Halloween, bringing the place down, everyone was jumping up and down, going nuts. So SPAC takes the cake for best 2-night stand, even though there were some great shows down south, great shows out west. But I mean, to me, the West Coast 2-night stands just didn't bring it like they had in previous years. And the southern shows were great and gems and hidden gems, but they didn't have that huge, we all are traveling to this like a convention feel that SPAC, Deer Creek, and Alpine had. And to me, Alpine and Deer Creek were great. They were great in their own right, but they just did not touch the overall package SPAC brought to me, in my humble opinion.
Surprise, surprise. You pay for what you get. You pay for what you get.
And for best encore, we're going to go with Gorge Night 3. It's not even close. Heaven's Amphitheater, you start off with a number 34. There's drones in the sky while the number 34 is playing. I mean, this has never happened in DMB history. Shout out to Sky Elements Drone Shows. They put this together along with Nova Sky Stories. Just an incredible production to mirror what the band was doing down on the stage, to have these things in the sky in formation like they did as 34 turns into So Right, and So Right will turn into What You Are. Just the drones alone make this great, but the set list is incredible. I don't want to hear another Watchtower. I don't want to hear another predictable closeout song. I want these special, unique encores like we saw for this Gorge Night 3. As a matter of fact, I'll take more What You Are to close out sets and to close out encores. I'll take more So Right at the end of a show in an E1 spot or an E2 spot. You have right there Leroy Moore, the face of Leroy Moore right there. He is the Grugux King, and he is up in the sky. I mean, this is incredible. There's been nothing like this in DMB shows. And this is fairly new technology that they're using, blending live music with drone shows. There's a fire dancer. What You Are was the perfect closer. I mean, this song captures everything that makes this current band great. You have this slow, epic build-up. You have Dave on that baritone guitar. These everyday baritone guitar songs like So Right and What You Are criminally underrated for this version of the band. And the band will eventually bring up to this high energy, high passion crescendo in the middle of What You Are. And to me, this is DMB, the current DMB at its best, right? Roy has passed. We can't bring him back. Boyd has walked away, and he's not really ready to play with this band. I don't think he'll ever be ready again. So you have to use Buddy, you have to use Tim, you have to use Rashawn, you have to use everyone else, Mr. Carter Bulford and Jeff Coffin and Stefan Lassard. And this song, What You Are, is the perfect song for everyone to really show what DMB 2022, DMB 2023 can do when it's at its best. So this was just something I think is a long time overdue for this current version of the band to have these 3 songs in an encore, or even have them late in a show. Again, let's get away from the Watchtowers. Let's get away from the P&P into Rapunzel. We've seen that. I love using these everyday songs and a number 34 rarity to close out a show. Therefore, best encore for 2022 full band is Gorge Night 3. If you haven't been to the Gorge, go. Just go. I was hesitant. How am I going to afford it? How am I going to do all this stuff? Once I went in 2019, I was like, that's why people go. I get it. I totally get it. There is nothing like seeing a show at the Gorge, and there's really never been anything in the history of DMB like this drone show / epic encore all in one place. So shout out to everyone who was involved in this to make a wonderful Gorge weekend end on a extremely high note. So for best show of 2022, what I found trying to pick this show is it was extremely hard. It wasn't as easy as previous years. And the reason it was not easy is because they really balanced out some of their top tier shows of 2022. They would not have a good opener. They would just throw in a random dud set of songs in a big stop. They would have an encore at a big stop that just wasn't that well selected. So it was challenging because all the stops that you typically look for, and even some of those midweek surprise shows, there was always something wrong that you could pick out. And there wasn't one show that says, here, this is the best show. The highs are extremely high and the lows don't exist. So what I did is I took a couple of things into consideration for this. First, from the Big Whiskey catalog songs, I said, hey, I don't want You and Me in this show if possible. I don't want Why I Am. I'm sorry. I know Why I Am is people love that song. I don't want it. We've heard it a bajillion times. I want to have a unique Big Whiskey song that like Lion in the Hands of God or Squirm, if possible, one of those being into play. I also don't want Louisiana Bayou. I don't want Can't Stop, if possible. Those are 2 songs that to me from that 2005, 2006 era, just I don't like them. They shouldn't be played anymore. If possible, I don't want Jimmy Thing. And also, if possible, I don't want to have a show that has Sledgehammer. I know it gets the crowd pumped. Sledgehammer, I'm over Sledgehammer. So when I looked at all of these things, this is the show that I chose. So the best show to me was Gorge Night 2 2022. Now on that list of songs I really didn't want to hear, the only song that made the cut was Can't Stop. Bayou wasn't played. We didn't get You and Me. We didn't get That Girl Is You, right? Those songs were not played
for this night. Also, do you remember another song, Samurai Cop, another song again? What's not played to me is just as important as what is played. And this show starts off with a great One Sweet World. It continues with You Never Know, right? And then it goes right into Fool to Think. That's a nice 3 song punch before you get to that bathroom break song and Can't Stop. Now, right after Can't Stop, you get Joyride, the first and only Joyride of the tour, and that makes that a special play. You get to Stay or Leave, number 41, If Only, and If Only has that awesome outro that they've improved the song in that way at least. I still don't like the beginning, but the outro is great. There's So Much to Say, Bridge Too Much, and then we get to Dreaming Tree. Dreaming Tree is played, one of the highlights of this year. 6 of them played for this summer tour. And then, of course, we have another bathroom break in Sledgehammer. And after Sledgehammer, we get that big whiskey song that I actually like, that I think is valued in sets, in my opinion, which is Squirm. Right after Squirm, we get Break Free with a Guest. And this is what really put it over to me some of the other weekends. We get Krasno, who was in Alpine, but he does an awesome job with this Break Free solo. And then you continue right down to So Damn Lucky. After that, you have Every Day, right? And after Every Day, right, you have All Along the Watchtower with Celise. Yet another example of Dave bringing in somebody very unique to come in and guest on. And this song, if it was in the encore, it wouldn't have been in the best show. There were some shows that had this in the encore I cut from this possibility of being best show. I love how Watchtower is in the main set, and even after that, you get a 2-step. Now, the encore is definitely probably the weakest part of this show, even though O is pretty cool to have. I don't mind O. But O into Stay, that's the weakest part, but still, it still could have been much worse, could have been much, much worse. And this show overall has the guests. It has the songs I don't like, mostly Away, and even the songs that we get that I don't like, Sledgehammer and Can't Stop, they are surrounded by solid songs. There's no Jimmy thing. And overall, this show, listening back to Andy Mendoza's recording, shout out for him recording a lot of this content I have on this video from the Gorge. Listening back, I loved it. Talking to people after this show in the post-show stream, again, they loved it. So best show 2022 for any full band performance, fall tour, summer tour, wherever, festival, headlining show, it's going to be the Gorge Night 2 2022. That's September 3rd, 2022. At, to me, the best place you can see this band on a consistent basis, right? Alpine's not every year. Red Rocks has not been something since, over a decade ago. So this is the best show. This was the best place to catch the band. And Night 2 and Night 3 of the Gorge, both amazing shows. All right, so there you go. That is the DMB Tour Awards. Mark, if you're ready, I sent through Facebook that. If not, we're going to go to Connor next. I do want to bring up a couple for best show. So Fiddlers, there's a good case for Fiddlers Night too, and we'll talk to Connor about that. But the thing with Fiddlers is a lot of stuff went away that to me made the first half great. So this is the first night. Let's pull up Fiddlers here, go night by night. And again, everyone has their opinion. Some of you guys were at these shows. Some of you guys weren't at shows and liked it better. But like, for instance, this is Fiddler's Night 1. My thing with this show is, first of all, When the World Ends is a horrible opener. I'm so over that song. That's one that I should have put on that. You have the riff, right? You had Riff and Drunken Soldier get some spirit in the West Coast, but there's no Shotgun, there's no Dreaming Tree, there's no Break Free, there's no Break For It. The Stone disappeared out west. Now you do have a Pig Night 2 of Denver, but like, to me, I'm looking for those songs, right? You got a rye whiskey, which is a pretty standard thing that they did. Like that's not a special. The encores now you have you never know, right? I'll give you that. The Riv 41 Grace, but there's no like the problem with this night one of Denver is there's no knockout punch song that's on here. Maybe outside of you never know is a great song, but you don't have that shotgun dreaming tree break free break for it like we've had you never know quite often the last couple of years. So that's the first one. Night two, and all this is based on what you like. Some people like Can't Stop. Some people like You and Me. Night two, I think there's a better case for night two because you have three songs that come out. Now, He can have mixed feelings for people. Granny Pig, right? Only five pigs in the tour. You have an If Only, but like to me, if like Fool to Think, I think Fool to Think, Pig, those are strong songs. But again, there's no Dreaming Tree. There's no, you have a Tripping Billies towards the end of the set. Um, you have Fool in the Rain. There's no Sledgehammer, but you still have a Do You Remember? Like I don't. I just think Do You Remember? Like those Come Tomorrow songs don't do it for me. You do have an O in P&P Rapunzel. So the encore is not Lights Out. The encore is not Lights Out to me. But I guess maybe uh, we have Shane from Colorado and Connor who were at that show, and we talked to them. Maybe they personally being there. Um, maybe you get that. One thing also, it was tough to spot the West Coast shows with the violin. You could argue there's a great case that one of those could be one of the best shows of 2022 because you had that violin, you had that surprise of really like there were surprises as far as the what you are reprise type thing night two. You have the guest spots where not only did you have an orchestra like in 2018, but you have uh, Anne Marie just actually really bringing that individual spirit of Boyd back, the spirit of the violin, I would say, back to DMB. Um, was it Gorge Night One? Jeff liked Gorge Night One because he said probably because he was there. Was another one. See, this has too much fluff for me. Samurai Cop, Don't Drink the Water is a bathroom break song. That Girl Is You. And I actually listened to this song Sirius XM. So Fool in the Rain, Warehouse, The Maker, that's a nice little start, but it gets kind of slow right here. When the World Ends. I like What Would You Say in the riff, but then in Madman's Eyes, but then Samurai Cop, Don't Drink the Water. Now, you had the Drunken Soldier, Seek Up, He. That's like a liberation, an epic song, Liberation. But then you have that Kill the Preacher YM, which to me, again, I don't care for in shows. I'm sorry, I don't go to see DMB play rock. Like in that capacity. A What You Are type baritone rock that feels more D&B, absolutely, but not the YAMs. Lion Hands of God, I love. Crush, Gray Street, cool. But the end and also the end with Louisiana Bayou. Yeah, that's an automatic. Nah, it's gonna be a no for me, dog.
Nope.
But again, everything is subjective. Connor, if you want to hop on, if anyone else wants to hop on, let me know. We'll send you a link. Anthony, Jeff, if you guys want to come on, make a case, share your thoughts. I want to hear what you guys love because, again, all this is subjective. I'm giving my opinion on what I think, but there's all sorts of ways people enjoy this band besides avoiding you and me like I do. So, yeah, Connor, if you want to hop on. Mark, if you're on still, let me know. And let's see. Yeah, but let me know in the chat if anyone else wants to come on. Shane, if you want to hop on, you don't have to, but oh, Phoenix. Let's take a look at Phoenix. What I think Justin, Justin, are you in Phoenix? Or I think you were in Phoenix, or you know about Phoenix. I can't remember. Um, So in the fall tour, a lot of that was skippable. I think Minneapolis and New York were great. Uh, let's see if I can find the Phoenix show. And we talked. I remember Jeff was excited about that. That's hometown show. Yeah, there was nothing like nothing stands out from this Phoenix show. Um, I mean, you have an Ocean and the Butterfly, but like he was already played. Like that's probably the rarest song on here. One Sweet World, but then he funny the way it is. That girl is you. Like, yeah, what you got a sledgehammer? Come on is so I could do without it. There's definitely worse. You do have Drive In, Drive Out, a Jimmy thing. Those are ones I would take away. Although that Jimmy thing is under 13 minutes, that's pretty good. But this is I think for Phoenix, this could have been much worse. But there's no again, where's your maybe Drive In, Drive Out's that song, but where's that break free break for it? I think yeah, really Drive In, Drive Out is that one song and the riff, right? But I'm looking for that stuff, and that's the thing is like you, one of the hardest things about this was you had a lot of stuff like there was no stone at SPAC. Typically, the stone is played at SPAC, right? There was no shotgun at a lot of venues that I thought, hey, maybe they'll bring it back up. Once I saw it played in Homedale, I was like, there's hope. The encores, I mean, usually there's more like Halloweens in the encores, and there's maybe you get a last stop occasion. I mean, not every year, but a last stop hop in there every couple years. There wasn't really that thing. Even at MSG, there was no Christmas song at MSG, although they played it last year, so maybe that's what it was. But to end on "Don't Drink the Water" for MSG Night 2, I thought that was disappointing. There was only one pig played during the fall tour. Martin Parker, let's see what you said. Bethel had Pig, Dreaming Tree, the first five, great start. Cornbread towards the end. See, but see, I don't look at Cornbread as a good song. Cornbread just to me, I loved hearing. I was at Joe Lawler. I was at the Deer Creek one. I loved him on that. I don't like Tim soloing on Cornbread. I do not like that slide. And to me, Cornbread is just it. The jam is not intriguing to me. So I count that as a down strike. Um, I didn't mind it at MSG as well, but you have a guest again. I just don't like Tim's playing on it. I don't like his tone. I don't like the slide on there. I did love what Lawler did to Rhyme and Reason 41 and Cornbread. Oh, the Bethel Cornbread was with Lawler. Oh, Anthony, thank you for that. Okay. I still don't think it's like I think it makes it bearable with him. I still don't think it's a song we need. Especially from that era where Cornbread comes from. There's just better songs from that era. From that Batson Sessions era. So let's look at Bethel. We talked to Ben St. Martin, I believe, for Bethel at that show that we had. Let's see. Okay. And they did have the Star Spangled Banner. Okay, yeah, this one did have some stuff. Pig, Dreaming Tree, but the Sledgehammer, come on, don't drink. That's a dead spot for me. Cornbread, again, do we need it? No, I'd rather have Lawler on. Hey, throw him on Spoon. Throw him on Spoon. Um, this is a great midweek show because I remember this was one of the midweek shows, but I don't think it's show of the year. Like, there's no, you never know. There's no. I mean, Dreaming Tree is definitely Pig and Dreaming Tree in the same show is definitely probably the arguing point for that. And Say Goodbye as well. You get a Nancy's Warehouse combo. And then you do get a Some Devil Ants Marching, only the third, 3 of 3 for Some Devil. Trying to see. Connor, do you have the link? Oh, 15 minutes. Oh, he's driving. Okay. So we're gonna hit up let's hit up I'm gonna call Shane. We'll call Shane. Shane, I'm about to call you. Heads up. If I have it here. Hold on, where is I'll have to see if I still have it. I can't remember what I have you in my phone as. Let's see if we can find you here. Let's see. All right, let's see. I'm gonna get to it. I thought I called you. This is when all right, well oh, Justin asked how was my wedding? Wedding went great. My wedding went great. Still married, right? Your boy Conceviz 34. Got married here in December, this past December. So that was definitely dope. There, yes. Got a new guitar back there, PRS Angelus as well. I think it's the A50. Do I have the A50? I think I have the A50, yeah. Which I gotta have them check it because there's a ringing sound in the upper frets. I just got it right at Christmas time, and I'm gonna have them look at it at Guitar Center. Yeah, let me look up. Bear with me, guys. Oh, thank you, Tyler. Let's see. I thought I had your phone saved. I don't know what happened because I know I called you, Shane. We met up at MSG. Oh, here it is. All right. So I'm gonna try to call. Oh, here it is.
Hello, hello.
How's it going, Shane?
Hey, what's up, buddy? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year.
Oh, man, I'm so happy to talk to you.
Likewise. So I know you had some love for your hometown Colorado shows. What were some of your favorite things this year as far as openers, closers, shows overall?
Um, yeah, we saw a bunch this year. So coast to coast, things were different. You know, the East Coast different than the West Coast, and then you got the Midwest that's just kind of doing their thing in the middle. But honestly, the San Francisco shows, what was that, Mountain? Is that Mountain Shoreline? No.
Yeah, Shoreline.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite shows this whole tour. They started that, punched it out with minarets, and maybe again, we were at the show before down in San Jose or San Diego. So I wasn't super stoked on the San Diego show. So when we got to San Francisco, it really just kind of came out. And yeah, I thought San Francisco was just fantastic. Denver was good. You know, it was cold. It was different than anywhere else of the whole tour. You got to remember, they came out on stage with hats and scarves and gloves with their fingers cut off. And Dave was like, what the hell's happening here? You know, I mean, we didn't, it was cold. So I just thought that was just the most unique experience of the summer. We weren't just sweating bullets and just like, oh, I need more water and sticky hot. You know, it was just different. It was cold. It was Colorado. And I thought the set list, like you were good. You hit on them earlier. I don't know. SPAC is always good. How can you not just love SPAC weekend every time you go?
Right.
Yeah, man. Oh, this is so great. I'm so happy to be talking to you.
Hey, we're glad to have you back on. And you were also, I believe you were at the Hollywood Bowl, right?
Yes. How do we forget the Hollywood Bowl with the orchestra and the violins? And oh my gosh, first time at the bowl, first experience. And crazy enough, we saw your tweet about the past 10 years of when tour announcement tends to come out on what day. And Angie said, do you want to go back to California? Because that was really a good time. I mean, we had such a good, we focused so much on the East Coast sometimes and making sure we get to Deer Creek and making sure, you know, if we didn't hit the Florida stops last year, we're probably going to have to run through Florida this year. But we don't want to discount California because those last 4 shows were a lot of fun. I mean, we really had a great time.
Right. And yeah, so we're
California's vibe, the people, again, loved the shows at the Hollywood Bowl. It was just a different vibe at the Hollywood Bowl with the corporate structure of the boxes. And Angie said even next time we'd probably go in for a little bit closer, see what we could do to go in on a box or something with somebody maybe, or yeah. But I wouldn't miss it. Angie said, yeah, you want to go back to Hollywood Bowl if it goes again next year? I'm like, yeah, maybe. Let's do that.
right. And I think with you, Shane, that's good context to add as far as with the Denver shows. You know, it's cold, so I'm not feeling that cold from Connecticut, but it's cold out there. And then you get this band still going all out, trying to light a fire for the whole venue. And then
Absolutely.
I do remember you said we have that on the post-show streams. I remember you talking about that transition from Southern California, that'd be the Irvine show,
That's right.
that you had on the 16th, and how you're in Chula Vista, you're right outside, in between LA and San Diego, and then you guys take the flight up to SFO in San Francisco, and then you go right to Shoreline, which is going to be Mountain View, California. I remember you definitely telling us about that, that distinct difference between the crowds, the vibe, the experience,
Yes.
that you
And
came
the
on
San
happier.
Francisco crowd was amazing, and it's like, I don't know how to explain it. It was like you can almost take the SPAC crowd and only put them in California. Where you're going to put them? It would have been up in that San Francisco area. It was incredible. I mean, the people, the venue, they said it 2 or 3 times throughout the show how, this used to be a regular stop for us every year. We love playing here, and we're so sorry we haven't been back. And we love this venue, and we love you guys. And it really was like, he was real talkative that show. He was really, it was good. So out of all the shows we've been to, I'm putting that show up there. It was fun, the vibe, the sound, everything. And like I said, they came out swinging with minarets right in the beginning, which threw everybody for kind of a curve. And we were like, yes.
And then take us to your the last stop. You guys, after the LA shows, you head back home to Denver. You're like, what do we do with our life? And then you and your wife Angie then come to Madison Square Garden
Yeah.
for the
how do I
final
even
two
use
shows
those
of
in the mix? Oh my God. To see the garden, first of all, it was my first experience. That was a new venue, Angie's
Yeah.
first time at that venue. And we knew that the last two shows of tour, you know, they're just going to jam it out. They're going to have a great show. They're going to have a good time. But oh my God, the first night when they brought out some of the band members from the Late Show with Colbert, and then the second night when out comes the Saturday Night Live band director and some of the I was like, oh my God, I was freaking out. I was just like, it was incredible. What a great 2 nights of music that was. And that venue. Oh my God, that Madison Square Garden, magic.
right. You see now why Fish loves to hang out there.
Oh my God, I get it. And I can only imagine it's even more crazy with that Fish crowd. I mean, I watched that New Year's Eve stunt they did where they recapped the last 40 years of stunts. Oh my God, that place is just incredible.
Yep, and there's a rumored, almost but certain residency that they're gonna do. People that work at MSG that have befriended some of the Fish fans, even to the point the last, they were out at the bars, the MSG crew at 2-3 in the morning at the bars, talking to some Fish fans, saying, "Hey, we'll see you this summer." So we'll have to see.
Well, they announced that Seattle. They're going out Seattle through Berkeley into the Hollywood Bowl. I mean, that's almost an indication right there because that's a hell of a West Coast swing. Now they're just going to come home and chill at the Garden for a residency. That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, and speaking of residencies, one thing that I saw on, just there's always ideas on the forums, but would you rather, as someone you travel, you've been in every time zone for this band in 2022, as someone who has that type of travel, would you rather have the band do 2 to 3 nights in the same market like Fish does? Would you rather have them like not like how they do Deer Creek 3 nights, they do Alpine 3 nights? Would you rather have some of that? Maybe they scale back touring but do 3 nights in a row, or would you rather have them continue to do what they do, 40 plus shows, but they're doing a lot of one-offs and there's some 2 night stands? What would you rather have in 2023?
That's a hard one right there because I would love to catch like a 3-night Alpine Dave weekend or 3 nights at Deer Creek because we don't get to the Gorge. That's the hardest venue for us to get to. School is starting here and yada yada. But I don't know. It's a really good question because Ange and I, we've gotten to the point where we don't hit a lot of the 1-night stands in the beginning and the heartbeat of tour anymore. We'll focus on the 2-night stands, and then we finished out California with the last 4. So obviously those were back-to-back 1-nighters, but we thought, wow, that's probably not going to be a repeat of the night before. So yeah, why not? Yeah, I don't know. I think just to change it up. Like, I love the 2 sets when they used to do that. Just change something up. Give us all right, just one weekend is going to be 3 nights. Pick Alpine or pick the middle of the country. Because it just kind of sucks that the Gorge is the only place that gets the 3-nighters. It's like, I want more than 2 nights. So I don't know. I mean, what do you want? What would you do? I mean, you go to a lot of 1-night gigs.
I think it would be cool to have some 3-night stands, just for the sense of the idea with with any sort of however many nights they do, from Caravan to the Gorge to the 2-night stands to the turn of the century 3-night stands. Somewhat, although no, that's a bad example because they repeated stuff. But I think I would like that idea of them maybe doing a little bit less of a show run, but doing 2 night and 3 night stands. And I say that too. There's a good, again, I shout out to antsmarching.org. A good point that someone made is there's a lot of tickets that go unsold in Brandon, Mississippi, in
Right.
Rogers, Arkansas, and
Mhm.
even when
There's definitely some states that you
yeah,
can kind of scale back on. Absolutely.
yeah,
But the bread and butter is the East Coast.
right,
I mean, for him to even think about not doing 2 nights at SPAC or not doing
right,
2 nights at West Palm Beach, or you know what I mean?
yeah.
You almost feel like you could find somewhere to do 3 nights, kind of make a happy medium.
Yeah, I think the challenge with it though is for Fish, they'll do Deer Creek, Alpine, Live Nation venues that get a lot of traffic, but then they'll do a 3 night stand at Dick's. So that's, you're out in Denver. No one knows, if no one's in Denver, that's the MLS soccer stadium for the Rapids, Dick's Sporting Goods Park. So they'll do that because you don't have a lot of shows at that venue. Atlantic City for Fish, for example, there's not a lot of shows Atlantic City's kind of flat beach area has for shows. So the one of the challenges with DMB to get 3 nights at SPAC is hard. They could get Friday, Saturday, but sometimes that Sunday, sometimes that Thursday, they have other acts. Country music, Morgan Wallen is more important to them. Eric Church is finally doing an amphitheaters. Like these are acts that will sell out the lawn and the amphitheater. So that's I think that's one of the challenges. But I would rather have, if I could have 3 nights at SPAC, 3 nights at Guilford maybe only gets 2 nights, but if there were 3 nights, maybe they do 3 nights in Hartford, or two in Hartford and two in Mansfield again. But they would have to scale back. They can't do that now.
Now the selfish, completely selfish, and I'll own this. As they scale back shows, then popularity of tickets start becoming more in demand, and then you know what I mean. So there's that give and take of, yeah, sure,
Well, I think the other thing is the tickets will be available. I think one thing I've learned, was freaking out during the MSG run, and fortunately, I got a ticket in the upper level. Tickets come up because people just can't make weekends. They get married. They get the finances. Eggs are
Well,
like
to
a
remind you that Buffalo snowstorm hit with like 6 feet of snow on MSG weekend. So we
yeah.
heard like on Saturday tickets started really becoming available because a lot of people from Buffalo or Rochester,
Right.
Syracuse area couldn't make it.
Right, the trains were shut down, but even without that, there were tickets available. There were people I know that were local to New York City who were trying to sell uppers, trying to sell. So my philosophy is just like with Deer Creek this year, it all worked out. Even I had an awesome friend, Sam Jones. She hooked me up. I was looking for tickets, but even Deer Creek this year, they add one more night. Yeah, people may travel more, but like there's always a ticket. Someone doesn't, there are people that refuse to not be in the pit or the lowers. They're selling their mid level or upper level tickets. Because for me, my thing is I just want to be in the venue, and most of the lawns I don't want to be on. So just give me a seat in the upper level. I'm fine. Some shows I get better seats from the warehouse or they pop up. But I do think that even if they cut back a little bit, they would sell more tickets, but there's always going to be a ticket available. Outside of SPAC, there's always a ticket available to a show.
I noticed a lot of festivals being announced. I'm not seeing them on any lineups anywhere.
Yeah, I think you may have came in late. I said that's great.
Did I miss that? I missed the very beginning.
I said, listen, DMB, certain bands do festivals. Well, DMB does not do festivals for your fan base. For the person who's never heard DMB, they're gonna cater to them. But I think it's better. It's a show that's gonna still get their voice shot, get them exhausted, cost them travel time. I'd rather them, again, with that, if they were to cut back shows, don't do fest. Innings Fest is an exception. They did Innings Fest in Tempe, or what was that? That was somewhere in Arizona.
Yeah,
Was it
And is
Tempe?
it Arizona or is it Florida?
Well, this year it's Florida. It was Arizona in 2020. That was in Tempe. Yeah. Innings Fest. So Innings Fest was in Tempe. It was the first ever location was in Tempe. Now they have Tempe and Tampa Bay. So they played a great set list there. The riff was in there. They did long train running. Um, just better just to have the riff in there. Now I'm looking at this now. Okay, they started with Don't Drink. They did Samurai Cop. But I just think the riff being in there, um, it was a special thing. Sweet Up and Down was played,
Did
right?
they do Summerfest last year? Because they were
No,
on like this every other year of Summerfest.
no. And Summerfest to me doesn't count. Summerfest is Dave plays his regular set, and there just happens to be other people performing at the same time.
Yeah.
Going to Summerfest last year for the first time. That's what Disturbed did. They played the set they play for the summer. Their openers on tour, Lamb of God and Chevelle played. There just happened to be the Revivalists at 9 p.m. They were in a stage a quarter mile away playing a small stage. There were other acts playing across that Milwaukee Summerfest area. So I don't count Summerfest as a real festival because for DMB purposes. They're not you're not standing in a GA area and there's 50 acts before DMB. It's DMB plays. That's it. On that stage, DMB is the only performer on that Summerfest stage in the main amphitheater. Everyone else is playing in other stages to the side at the time too. By the way, DMB's playing and there's two other stages going.
Yeah, man. I'm excited. I'm excited to see summer tour announcements. I'm excited to meet up with friends.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey Shane, thank you so much for being on. We're gonna get to Connor, and but stay tuned because once that tour is announced, you know I'm going live again.
Absolutely. Thank you, Marcus. Thanks for doing this, man. So great talking to
All
you.
right.
Happy New Year. Give my best
Happy
to
New
your
Year.
family.
Will do. All right.
Love
Peace.
you, man. Peace out.
All right. Bye. All right. Thank you to Shane from Colorado. Just giving us some things there, and we got our next Connor is going to be next. We're going to bring him on just a second. From the Midwest. So we got our West Coast guy. And then Connor, even though he's in the Midwest, he went to West Coast shows, Southern shows, Eastern time zone shows as well. So he's someone who was able to have that taste of everything. Here, and we'll see what he has to say. Connor, you there?
Yes, I am. Hello.
Hey, so what did you think as far as what were some of your picks for opener, closer, all the different things that I selected?
Now, I have a question. Am I only picking off the shows that I went to for the year or the whole tour?
The whole tour, any show, full band.
So obviously for opener, Shotgun has to be the pick, but I am going to give a shout out to So Right from my beloved Target Center show. That So Right opener was awesome.
Yeah, and that was the one show that we didn't have a taper for, which was sad, but that show overall, I think it gave people hope. So that's a good pick there.
Yeah,
What was
that
your
was go ahead.
what was your favorite liberation? Like a song liberated any time this year that came back.
Probably I have a few. I can't pick from one. Break for It was on my list. The Dreaming Tree was up there too. That's one I've always wanted to see. I got it for the first time at Alpine. This past tour. Um, I don't know if Break Free was liberated. I believe it was.
Let's see. I'm looking. Yep, Break Free was on there. I'm looking at the list. Yep, Break Free was
Okay.
liberated.
Yeah, I mean, Fool to Think, Drunken Soldier, Ehe, just a whole plethora of fantastic songs were liberated for the year. If I were to have to pick one, I'd have to say Dreaming Tree.
All right, there you go. So Dreaming Tree, yeah, and there's really it's funny. It was it's the liberation that there's you really can't go wrong for the most part. Sometimes there's a song that nobody like. I think Stand Up was liberated a couple years ago, like 2018,
Yeah,
and like other in Louisiana Bayou, maybe nah, maybe it was on there, but I felt like Bayou came back in
yeah.
2018, and I didn't need it, so. No, but there were so many great things, and it was hard for me to choose that best liberation. I chose Break for it just simply because of how long it was since we heard it. But really, Shotgun Dreaming Tree, number 34. I mean, there's so many great things. What was your favorite encore?
That's probably the toughest one for me to pick from. Um, I know that Gorge Night 3 encore with the 34 So Right and What You Are. That's up there, but yeah, that's a tough question. Because I feel like
Yeah.
a lot of them had it was like two-step rye whiskey. I saw that encore probably 12 times this
Mhm.
tour,
Yeah.
but
I think with that, it like the two choices, toughest one, like it was the pay for what you get at SPAC, too much to Halloween. That was number 2 to me because it was just like oh, that song wasn't even like if you had a set list, it wasn't on there. And then the one I picked was the Gorge Night 3.
I
Just because it was a 3, we didn't really have a three-headed monster encore that was close to that because we had even with MSG, we got Pay for What You Get, Don't Drink the Water for the last show of the year. So talk about so you said your favorite guest was Celise for Gorge Night 2. Talk about what did you what made that the best choice for you?
don't know, just I was just a huge fan of the performance.
Mm,
She killed it on guitar and sing the vocals. I know
mm,
Watchtower is a very it's played a lot and it's kind of a boring get song for someone to guest on, but overall I thought that was the most and I mean even the violin from Hollywood Bowl, I thought that this Celise performance was the most powerful of the whole tour.
mhm. Right, I think that's a good point. The voice and the playing. Now Susan Tedeschi also Susan Tedeschi Trucks, she also guested on Watchtower, but Celise had that power of her voice vocally. Her diaphragm was pumping much more of a vocal power, and she said, "Oh, by the way, I can play guitar." And she showed both. That's a good point. She had both of those skill sets to just slay a guitar solo and sing powerfully and add a little bit more soul to this song than what we get on a nightly basis. Although only 8, it's funny, there's only 8 of them this year, but it always feels like I catch 1 or 2 of these at least where I'm going. So, no,
I
that's a
always
good
get
point.
one at Alpine
Right, and we I was right by you when they played it. When they started that watchtower with you and your sister and your dad,
up on the deck. Yeah,
on the
I
lawn.
remember
Yes.
that.
Yep, I left my seat for the encore, and then once I heard the beginning of the bass thing, I came up, I saw you again, and yeah, so you had that watchtower. And what else is there? I guess two-night stand. Were there any encore closers or any other things that stood out to you this year as far as moments or a certain way they played a song or anything?
I mean, just like the new, like the way they played two step this year, loved it.
Mhm,
The 20-minute two steps were always iconic, but I feel like these ones were just all kind of bang, 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 just epic and loud, and they got right to the point. Another thing I kind of want to mention, which this is kind of a very small thing that I pointed out. I may have mentioned this on other streams in the past, but for the song "Come On, Come On," Buddy Strong added backing vocals to like harmonize with Dave. I thought that sounded really good.
Yeah. Yeah. So he did add those there, and I think I caught one. I think I've caught at least one of them. And I remember listening on the Sirius XM recordings to that, and Buddy's vocals on like "Walk Around the Moon" on some of those SXMs, and then the Come On," like it was nice to hear those. And all the two step, I will say I agree. And to me, the best two steps are still under 15 minutes. To me, the Leroy, Red Rocks, anything in the Roy era supersedes those 20-minute two steps. I know, again, I understand why people love them, but this year it was awesome to get a two-step condensed. They focus it on a specific thing, on a specific build up, and they close it out, but you still get 12 minutes of it. We go to let's That MSG one to me was the best one of the year. They kind of did this thing where they out of nowhere brought it back. Let's see if I can go to that fall tour. And Kermit the Prog, our favorite tape, well, I guess our one of our favorite. We can't pick favorites. We love him and Mark. Kermit the Prog is here on the chat. Thank you for joining. I forgot to tell you, I didn't even realize I was going to go live until 2 days ago. So I know you were. I had I'm very unsure of the streaming schedule for this first half of the year. I got a lot of things going on, but Kermit the Prog, thank you for coming on. Thank you as well, always for always your feedback. Yeah, this two step, it was 14 minutes, but it just felt like they kind of like there was a little bit more of an element of surprise when they built this thing back up. They brought it down. So and then of course we had, yeah, no, you were in Minnesota. So what did you think of the sound system there for that fall tour, the Meyer
The
Panther
sound
sound system?
system, the sound system in those arenas was amazing. We got uh, both in Omaha and in Minneapolis, just absolutely kind of perfect sound. At the United Center, it wasn't as good, but that was
Mm,
probably more of a venue thing since it's so big.
yeah,
But like even the crowd sounded like kind of muffled at the United Center, but at in Omaha and in Minneapolis, the sound was perfect, and I hope that it sounds just as good in the amphitheaters. You can hear
yeah,
everyone very well in the with the new system.
yeah. I thought it was great, and it's funny because Dead and Company. It's also the build, the places they play. Dead and Company to me, at the live experiences have been hit or miss sound wise. But again, you have Bob Weir is, just his guitar has issues. The way his guitar like that is not so like I think this system, I love what DMB what it's done for DMB. I think it's benefited DMB more than Dead and Company because but again Dead and Company is just a different machine. And I remember you talking about the Omaha show, you and Shane, that even side stage for Shane. I think it was Shane who was side stage. It sounded great. And I love the potential for it for the summer, like you said, in the summer sheds. Now you're in Illinois, right? And so what do you want? Understanding like it's probably like let's just rule out Alpine, okay? Do you want Northerly Island again? What do you want for your region to get as far as shows?
I mean, realistically, it's probably 95% going to be northernly and alpine. Um, my favorite thing about northernly is the view of the city. That to me is the only thing that venue's got going for it right now. But I will say this: I would rather see a show at Northernly than a show at Wrigley. So I won't,
Okay.
and I think that's more of just like I'd rather be in an actual amphitheater, well, kind of,
Right.
than a stadium. But that means we're probably going to get Summerfest too in Milwaukee.
Right. Yeah,
But
that's just it's the contract, the agreement was what it
yeah,
seems to be. That's a good point though for you. And you're a local, Chicago, so you like the skyline. You'd rather have Northerly over Wrigley, which I think is an interesting conversation because even on some of the Ants forums, some people would rather have it at Wrigley because of like locals that talk on there because of the environment of like Wrigleyville and just where it is. Like even though they understand you're going to take a view, like from a view standpoint, you're going to be further away from the stage. It's going to be more expensive. It's going to be like hotels, everything. But they're local, so they just would drive in. Um,
I'm also a White Sox fan, so I am incredibly biased too.
right.
If they
Yeah.
played at the White Sox stadium, I would be way more into it than most
Gotcha. So
people.
that's what it is. Yeah. And I told you this. If you guys missed it on the post show streams, I did a couple streams from Chicago. I liked the environment at Guaranteed Rate Field where the White Sox play more than I liked Wrigley. The overall fan and both teams were kind of just struggling. There wasn't obviously I think the Cubs were much worse, but even so, like I just love the tailgating. Tailgating at Guaranteed Rate was much better. The fans, the diversity of the fans, the family, like it just felt much more comfortable to me. Even though I don't live in the south side of Chicago is the furthest from how I grew up, just to be honest. But like even so, it just felt much more like okay, this is like an awesome environment where Wrigley felt like yes, this is a great iconic ballpark. I get that. It's like oh, this is what it looks like, but it was a lot of people that were just like coming from work or doing it. Like it just the vibe was different. So I'm with you. I like the White Sox over that. Um, let's see. Kermit the Prog says cold take, and this is I cannot say this enough. I said this earlier in the show. State he says cold take. Beating the dead horse. Stadium ballpark shows are incredibly overrated. Right. I agree 100%. And I didn't
I've
upgrade
never
my
been to a
setup. I
concert
just
in like a big stadium before, so I don't know if I can. I don't know if my opinion on that fully matters, but I would
mhm.
probably have to agree with that too.
Yeah, if the only reason they should do anyone should do a ballpark is if the demand, if you can't fit an amp, like for instance, I would actually go see Pearl Jam at Fenway at this point, right? I've been meaning to see them for the last couple. I want to see if that's going to change my on the fence feeling about them. I respect their legacy, but I just think some of their songs are good, some are bad. So I would see certain acts. I would see like a Stevie Nicks who's doing well, she's doing football stadiums with Billy Joel. I would potentially see her at a stadium because listen, it's hard to like the tickets for this last tour she did in the fall were expensive. So if I can get a good deal on a ticket last minute, maybe I'm further away, but I'm gonna check that out. But really, DMB is an amphitheater band at this point. They could fill up if they cut shows. They could fill up Fenway. They could fill up, but it's not worth it to me. I'd rather have to pay more for an amphitheater seat in the back than be 50 miles away for DMB.
I would
Um,
agree.
and I've seen Dead and Company. I've seen some other acts, and also I've been to festivals like Sound on Sound. I know it was his first year, but it's just to me the audio quality, the mix, all that stuff means more now that I understand live audio just a little bit more. I'm not an expert on it, but I understand it a little bit more. I've been playing in different venues in the last 10 years as a doing open mics and I've been tapped to do performances. So I kind of understand more of that and I listen differently than I did. So yeah, I just no stadiums, no festivals if possible. Kermit the Frog says, yeah, the demand's just not there for them. It isn't. That era is over. I mean, there was a point where they were selling out Giant Stadium and Foxborough Stadium, but that's it. Any new places you're looking to go to in 2023?
much as I'd like to go somewhere new, and maybe like this will change when the dates actually come out, I'm thinking we're gonna stick to our usual plan. We're gonna go to Blossom again. We're gonna go to Noblesville, Northernly, and Summerfest, and we're gonna head out to the Gorge as well.
Gotcha. Okay, and that's kind of where I am this year. I did Alpine, I did Deer Creek. Um, just got married too, so I'm trying to get a bigger spot than we have now. So I I I don't see myself taking as much risk where 2021, and I know for you, same thing. For you, your travels in 2021 and 2022, you started to establish some travel. You saw the Orion Amphitheater, right?
Yes.
And so it's yeah, I'm kind of like, all right, the pandemic ended. I did 2 years of like a surprise gorge second trip, and last year doing the Chicago, Milwaukee, Indiana thing that I did with shows and fun stuff. But yeah, this year I'm just kind of trying to stay, do more things outside of DMB. So yeah, I just I'm not looking to take risks, and I think we'll have an element of of fan base do that. Um, every the 2021, just like we just said, it's hey, the pandemic ended. 2022, hey, the pandemic ended, but now we don't have all these different tests or proof of vax and all that. So some people hopped on. Um, let me see, Zach. Did you want to come on? I think I saw your. Let me check your message. But Connor, thanks for being on. We're gonna let you go. And
Yeah,
then
thanks for
we're gonna
having me.
close up. Sure. All right, and we'll be looking wherever you do go. We're gonna definitely be looking to
Just need
reach
those
out to
dates
you
to
after
come
the
out.
shows. Right, we need the dates to come out. Yeah. Oh, so you do want to? All right, I'm gonna get this link over. All right, we'll let you go. Take care, Connor.
Alrighty, you have a good one.
All right. So I'm gonna get this over. So Kermit the Prog, Zach, I'm gonna get this over to you on Facebook. It's just easier to see. Okay. So if you want to join audio, and it's fine, just audio. There. Don't forget to hit the like button. And again, if you're watching this, we'll do the DMB Awards. I'm gonna do a little bit more editing, and we'll get that as a standalone video. All right, we're gonna bring. Let me just change everything over, and then we'll bring on Zach. All right, how's it going, Zach?
Hey, good to hear from you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, by the way. Congrats. I didn't send you a message on the wedding day, but congrats for everything. I'm really excited for you guys to start your journey.
I appreciate it. Appreciate it. So just give us your thoughts on 2022 and talk about what you're hoping for in 2023 here.
So, 2022 was a really cool year in the sense that we saw a lot of movement and continual momentum from the band that they kind of took from their pandemic break. And the band is playing really, really well. They have been for the past 2 years, and with the ongoing will they, won't they of this new album that they can't seem to make their final decision on, to every other bit of momentum that they have going for them. I'm excited for 23, and I mean, there's tons of stuff that's currently in the works that I unfortunately can't really talk about, but the fan base should be really, really excited for what's going to come up this year.
All right, you can't talk. What if we give you a? No, I was kidding. Uh, yeah, regardless. Yeah, and that's. I mean, listen, regardless of what turns out, album or tour, I'm excited to see what they build on from 2022. Even though, listen, like I said, there's nothing that we can 100% really know about this. At least we can only speculate now. So for this upcoming year, are you going to be doing anything as far as going to places that maybe you haven't gone to in the past? Or
So right now it's looking like I will keep a lot of my normal spots. I'll be doing, the Jones Beach run, the Saratoga run, possibly like Homedale, or maybe even going down for like a night of Camden if they do it. So like a lot of the New England stuff I'll more than likely be there for, just because it's simple enough for me to do it, and especially if there's coverage needed, I'll be more than happy to take that on. Ultimately, I would like to add, like one or two spots to my roster that I haven't been able to do before. I'd contemplated adding, Chicago, or adding West Palm Beach. I don't know. Ultimately, I mean, even for me, like, while working with the organization is a really nice thing that I get to do, it's not my main job. So unfortunately, it just comes down a lot to what my schedule works out with, and people keep getting sick and showing up to the hospital. So that's kind of the problem.
right, and we thank you for your service. So Zach works as a healthcare worker, correct? Or,
Yep, I work in an ER. I'm a patient care technician.
awesome. Well, we just coming out of a pandemic. Even before that, with the older I get, the more I appreciate the work you do, and my peers. Some of my peers from high school and college are getting into that, are in more established in the field, and the stories and the the things they go through is just, we really appreciate what you do. And the other thing we talked about last week, I'd love to get your take on this warehouse disc, or well, digital release, because this was the one thing that I said, hey, even in 2019, they gave us a nice mix of some special things, from was it the Mercy in Europe? Not my favorite song, but that was a great version. The Spoon
Right? Yeah,
in
yeah, yeah.
2019, and this, I'm pulling it up now, but I looked at this disc, and I was like, wait, what did they do? How did they fumble a year where we just talked about all the special things and have just a bunch of mediocre songs? What do you think of this warehouse disc?
So my opinion on it is three parted. Number one, the disc itself, in terms of the tracks that they picked from 2022, is laughable. It is a absolutely laughable collection of songs that are on there. I mean, sure, it's nice that we've got like a fully mixed and mastered release of Break For It and Break Free. That's cool. I'm totally down with that. And in a way, that those two songs kind of were the songs of 2022, in my opinion. So I think that that's kind of nice, in the sense that it seems like these past couple of warehouse discs, they've been looking at them more as like a year retrospective of the last tour, which again, that's cool. That's awesome. But I mean, is there really another reason that we need like another Can't Stop or another Do
Right.
You Remember? Like most of this is filler and it's boring. However, that being said, I do think that getting Vanderbilt '09 is a real treat. I mean, did you take a full look over that actual set list? Because it's a beautiful show.
Yes, we did. Mark was in the comic. I know he was at that show. From an audio standpoint, have you heard the tape of that show?
I was actually planning on listening to it today, but I ended up working on a different show. the tape, from my understanding, is really good, but um, I'm still beyond glad to have a full multi-track mixed version of Blue Water. That's great. And then otherwise, like, I mean, this set list is really solid late 2000s DMB, and there's not many, if any, real dead spots to this show, in my opinion.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, on my end, I just thought that Blue Water is intriguing. I got for it to be 3 minutes and 28 seconds versus some I've heard more an abridged version. But to me, like Spaceman never really. I've heard Spaceman in 2012. I heard in 15. I was never a fan of Cornbread in this era ish. Like, and then what is it? Like I would look forward to the recently, but there's a couple of songs that like Satellite. I would say Satellite, Why I Am, Spaceman, Cornbread, Funny the Way It Is from this era. Um, Jimmy thing. Like I think those songs I was like, but I will listen to it. But
Right, of course.
this to me was there's I've seen like you're really excited. I've seen people like that. I've seen people who are in the middle, but I think this disc releasing this show is okay. I think this like going back to what we were looking at for the warehouse disc. Even with I even just said this last on Wednesday on my stream. I said I understand they may be holding the new songs, Walk Around the Moon, all that stuff. They may be holding live releases of those songs for the album,
Right, like
but
similar to what they did with Away with the World and all that kind of
right.
stuff.
Yep. And even Big Whiskey, like that Beach Ball came in, even though it was a Little Red Bird, they had some other stuff. But I said, even with that considered, just as we just mentioned, there was other songs that could have been picked. And I think the songs that they picked for this Warehouse Volume 12, a lot of these songs are songs to me, fans, some of the fan base still goes nuts for these, but this is the one disc that the diehard fan was at least able to get more gems and get song. Like if you're gonna have Samurai Cop, it's gonna be with the orchestra. If you're gonna have Can't Stop, it's gonna have some sort of element, a guest, a unique ending, a special outro like that Boa Walk Down outro, which is now a staple, but it was new last year. But like
Right.
these songs don't even have that. And
Exactly. And I think that that's sort of where, because from everything that I've seen, I don't think I have seen one person that is particularly thrilled about this warehouse disc. I think everyone is kind of ambivalent to annoyed with it. And I mean, like, one could argue that, looking at this disc, it does summarize a bit of the tour last year in the sense that these songs on here are songs that were played quite frequently last summer.
yeah,
So if you're kind of looking at it as oh well, if you wanted to kind of to get a taste of what we did for the summer of 2022, here you go. Then by the spirit of the assignment, I guess you pass. But did you really do the assignment?
right. That's a good point. That a lot of these songs had high play counts, and it is like a sample. They had those summer tour or the tour samplers for a couple years. It does give you just an idea of that. Um, Anything else as far as any that you're in relation to this upcoming year um, that you wanted to talk about or
Well, all I can say is that I hope that everybody is feeling recharged and excited for this year because the kind of stuff that we're looking at for 2023 is going to blow some people's minds. And I don't think anybody is ready for what's going to happen this year.
wow, those are powerful words, and I mean we know we trust you as anything you can give to us, whether it's your expertise or any lead-ins. That's great news to hear from you. So I guess we gotta buckle up and be ready, and I may have to to make a case to the wife. Hey, can I go to the gorge? No. Actually, she wants me to go to the gorge. She wants me to
Well,
go
you
to the
should.
gorge.
Well, you
But
should come out with me then. I'm thinking about doing it this year.
yeah, I gotta. There's too much I need to save for the future, and that's all
No,
I can
trust me.
say. But
No,
yeah,
no, trust me. I
you
get you.
know, yeah. I think everyone, any adult gets, but I'm getting into that adulthood. Where I'm like, okay, yeah, I need that. I want to retire. I want to do like before I'm 80, and yeah.
No,
So, but
I know what you mean.
she did say I could go, but yeah, I'm more like,
That,
no, we need to sit.
that's a test, Marcus. You know that's a
Yeah,
test.
yeah. And I don't know about you, but this Connecticut Light and or not EverSource, they just our electric companies up here in Connecticut, our primary one, just doubled their rates for delivery and then increased some other things. So it's
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
yeah,
it ain't cheap anywhere, and especially
yeah.
up where you are, it ain't exactly cheap to begin with. So
And where you
gotta
are
go and
either.
buckle down. Yeah, gotta buckle down where you can.
Yeah. So and we'll see. Like I said, we'll see, but I'm looking forward to that. Well, thanks for coming
Absolutely.
on, Zach. And like I said, just stay tuned. I know we've talked about some things, but depending on my schedule, and we may have some more of this stuff for the fall. I mean, for February and March. It just depends on life and new things and job and more goals I have outside of DMB. But once that
Of
tour is
course, dude.
announced, I'll be live whatever day that is whenever it's announced, so long it's after Martin Luther King Day, which I don't expect. They're not going to announce Saturday or Sunday. But anyway, I just said
No,
this
no, no.
weekend, I guess.
I can tell you flat out that we're at least a week away from it. It's not going to be next week.
Okay. All right, good to know. But yeah, I will be ready for that, and we'll be back on here. So thank you so much, Zach, and we'll talk to you soon.
I talk to you soon. Later, Marcus.
All right, peace. All right, so thank you to Zach, and you hear that it's going to be more. It's not going to be this upcoming. It's going more than a week away from right now as we speak. So he's able to give us some stuff. But I think take those words. Appreciate Zach for sharing what he can, but he said just be ready. That's great to hear. Because if Zach was more gave less details out, that may be a sign of concern. But if he's saying that, I think that means be ready for what is to come with everything here. So let's see. But as TC Kaufman says, no one talks about bringing back the listener-supported opening jam. I love it, and I think people would go nuts. They threw it in a few times. What song is that? I don't know. Maybe we were talking during that. There's a lot of intros like Prelude to Grace. We shout out to let's see if we can bring it up here. I'll bring it up on shout out to the pod that Jane likes because they did address like the can't stop thing and a, a nice array of opinions, and I think that's great. That's what I like about the pod that Jane likes is it's not just one aspect of the fan base, and sometimes the answers will surprise you. But shout out to the pod that Jane likes, and they let us talk. They let us keep it 100. You have some people who love it, right? Shout out to my homegirl Brianna, who loves Can't Stop, and I'm like, this is my post right here. Right, this is my post right here. Perfect example of DMB self-sabotaging a song. I agree with Jenny DMB's take on the pod. Never was a song I was chasing, but I didn't mind the older Can't Stop live. Now we have the song sped up. It makes it one I have never liked outside of when I was on the rail. Oh, the list. So at the beginning of listener supporter, you're talking about that opening jam. Okay. Gotcha. I it's been a while since I listened to that record. I listened to that number 41. I was on a radio show and I picked that for a radio show to be played. That was last fall, but I'll have to listen back to that. But my biggest thing, and I try to be positive with this band, but there's a lot of what my frustration is with is some of the things they've done and then they just abandon. I still don't know another band that has done what DMB has done as far as self. I only can say it's self sabotaging. I know. Listen, you don't have a fiddle, right? You got to adjust. And I think Buddy Strong has been a great part of this band when you don't have that ability to have Boyd at 100% playing the violin, which I just think his best days are behind him on a stage, well behind him. I don't think he'll ever get close to how he was in the mid 2000 early to mid 2000s. Like even though he had his on and off nights, like he'll never get back to that level for 40 shows. I wish him all the best, but I just think that's the reality. And he sacrificed a lot of his body and his well being, health for us. So I appreciate that. But there's just like to speed up can't stop. It's just a bad. It just to me was a bad decision. Um, and they mentioned this on the pod. Like there were other songs from the Batson sessions that they could have brought back, and maybe we get some of that on this new album that may come out or may not. But my biggest frustration with DMB is like they come up with Prelude to Grace. They come up with The Dream So Real. And some of this stuff doesn't hit at shows, and I get that. But some of the stuff did hit. Some of the stuff they were playing in front of 60,000 fans back at the peak of this band's mainstream popularity was more deep cut than what they play now. And people still showed up. And when they play a certain deep cut stuff, people now some stuff doesn't hit, and I get that, but some stuff people really like. So I do commend like some of the remixes to Sweet, the remixes to even trying to make it only a little bit better on that outro, the remixes to Mercy. Right, they've done a great job. Rooftop a year in got better, but they also just self sabotage a lot of stuff. Number 41 not having that sax solo. I'm sorry. Like that's what frustrates me about this band. Like number 41, that was in the spirit of Leroy Moore. Yes, you have Jeff Coughlin. Let Jeff do whatever he wants. Let Jeff play the flute if he wants. Jeff was just promoting a new mic for his flute, and he sounds great on the flute. He sounds great on the sax, but like 41 shouldn't be. I think Tim shows his skill set there, but that should be sax. It doesn't even really need to be trumpet heavy, right? You can have trumpet, but you don't need that like those couple bars that we get from trumpet at that point, right? At the end, right, we can add the trumpet, and I like that type of stuff. But like that song has lost its way and it's been self sabotaged. Put a sax solo in there. Jeff doesn't get nearly enough love and performances. So anyway, that's just one of the things that's frustrating. Forget about the set list choice, but like when they do something good and then they just it goes away, you're like, whoa, wait, bring that back. And it's more about the jams and it's about the other stuff because again, certain songs just aren't good. I can make the case for A Dream So Real as much as I want, but in certain markets, even in diehard SPAC, right? I remember Captain in Hartford a couple of years ago, like people didn't care. But certain things they did, Prelude to Grace would hit. Prelude to Grace would absolutely hit in this era, right? Why isn't it there? So that's just one of I can talk about that all day, and I always will continue to bring it up. But a lot of what I kind of get very passionate about is, hey, that right there, stop. No, go back to that. It's like when you're trying to, it's like when some of you guys may be parents and have kids, but it's like, I mentor kids at my church, and like sometimes the the elementary school kid age group, the boys, like most of the girls in elementary, but I mentor the boys, especially boys without father. Like that's one of my things I do and I'm passionate about. But like there'll be a moment where they're like really, really good and they're really considerate, and all of a sudden they go back to being a kid. And that's just what kids do, right? I did that as a kid. But you're like, well, no, no, go back to that. You just like gave that person a toy, or you gave you did something kind for someone just because. Like, go back to that. That's what's frustrating about D. It's like, no, what do you know? Stop. This it's just a self set, and really, I don't know bands that just self because you have bands that break up. You have bands that go on hiatuses. Maybe their old stuff isn't as good, but hey, just play that song. You can add some new elements into it. You can, but don't ruin that part. Don't speed up that song. Don't speed up that song. So it's just one of those things that you know we have an issue, and what we talked about this nonstop. But you have this issue. The band felt violated when Lily White sessions leaked and when Batson sessions leaked, and I understand that. But when it leaks and this is what you get, it's concerning. Just like when there's all these things in social media where a tape will leak, a video will leak, something will leak, and you're like, well, hey, some of the stuff could be public, right? It could be in a public eye and people saw it. But some of the stuff could be private. And you're like, hey, I get the privacy thing. Like someone illegally put this video of you up. But if this is how you are behind the scenes, I know we all are crazy behind the scene. Even giving you that grace, this looks bad. Like, why wasn't this? And that's what it is with DMB. I understand you guys have decisions, you guys choose what you put on. But when you have 5 or 6 songs that have never seen the light of day for an album, and you still were working on it, we have these Batson sessions, we have the Lily White. This is how you were playing the songs. And then it went from this to that and you were afraid to release that. This is bad. Um, that it just that's what the when I hear certain demos and listen, I'm not the best, like the most intelligent, or I don't know the most about the Beatles or the Stones, but like people will send me certain things about these rock bands, like these bonus recordings. There's demos, like Elton John will release a demo for 30th, 40th anniversary of an album, and you're like, okay, that's why I didn't make the cut. That's why it's cool. It's cool to hear that progress, but this is why I didn't make the cut. But with DMB, it's like, why didn't that make the cut? Why didn't that make the cut? Why didn't that make the cut? Why did you choose this song instead of that song? So I'm passionate about this because I believe a lot of what the band throws away, some of it they could have is, okay, maybe they talked if they were ever to, if I were to get the real story, okay, that makes sense. But a lot of it just, I don't know how you defend it. I don't know how you defend it. Especially like the Little Red Bird EP too. Beach Ball would have been such a great big whiskey mainstay, and Beach Ball in rotation would be such a great song. So yeah, and then some stuff. Connor made me a good point about Roy playing that Dream Surreal sax. Right, that the sax part is just that's Roy. Right, just puts your hair sticks up when you hear that. So all right, it's time to get out of here. I'm glad to be back, and don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, share this with your friends. Shout out to Zach and all the other tapers. I will say this throughout this year: more people should take videos of shows, horizontal, right? Putting your phone like this, take the full video of the song, especially if you have a nice spot to take video. Not no one should feel inclined to do, like, if you just want to enjoy the show, enjoy it. But like if you feel like, hey, I've seen these shows, I'm starting to get the swing of things, I don't mind taking 4 or 5 songs, 4 or 5 songs down on my phone. Because when you have something like, you know, well, forget about Minnesota, but just other shows, there's not a lot of videos. I'm like looking for stuff And like, it's not that hard. Like, you don't have to be perfect. My videos are far from perfect, but to get that Fool in the Rain, to get some of the stuff in Hartford, like, people really appreciate that. And I think looking back, I enjoy watching those. Like, people, oh, you don't watch these videos. Yeah, and then that's the problem. If you take a 30-second video, very rarely are you gonna watch it again, especially if you go into 10 shows or 3, 4 shows. But to have a nice, all these cameras now have all these phones have great cameras, right? Just upgraded the wife's phone, right? Happy wife, happy life, and her camera is amazing. Like, the cameras on these new phones are just, they keep get everything else is the same, but that camera, like the shooting 4K, that stuff, you just put it up and it can, destabilize, automatically destabilize and stuff. So just point and shoot, guys. If you feel inclined, and there's no wrong way, just point and shoot. We got, a lot of tapers who get audio to copper pot, like Zach, everyone who tapes, and then with permission, there's a multi cam, right? There's a special moment is preserved, like that. Pay for what you get at SPAC. That is forever preserved. Yeah, the band won't release that right now, but I almost love that idea of that bootleg recording of everyone's video, and the videos look crazy. And I think mine was at the top, but like those other close-up ones, you're like, who cares? Like, if the band's not, whatever, we have Copperpot and we have this amazing community. So just think about it. All right, guys, that's it. I gotta get out of here. What was I doing? I was supposed to get up an outro video. Let's see. Let's see. Also, shout out to Goose, man. Shout out to Goose. If you're looking for a new band to hop in on for 2023, I will always recommend Goose. Look forward to hopefully catching them a couple of times here. And let's see. All right, we will play this one. This video was the most viewed video of 2022, which was this Fool in the Rain. And again, I just pointed and shoot it. Definitely a nice surprise for many. Some people are sick of it, but I think this is a great cover. All right, it's your boy Constance 34. We're gonna listen to "Fool in the Rain" to close out from Alpine. I shot this at my first ever Alpine show. All right, guys, take care. Peace.
Y'all look good too.